Why are so many people giving up on their dreams in 2026? It's a question that feels heavy in the air right now. It's not just laziness or a lack of discipline. We are living through a silent pandemic, not a virus of the body, but of the mind. In an age where we are more connected than ever, a record number of people feel utterly powerless. Whether it's the skyrocketing cost of living, the overwhelming noise of the digital age, or that gnawing feeling that no matter how hard you work, the system is rigged, the result is the same: apathy. But to understand why we feel this way, we have to go back to a series of experiments from the 1960s that predicted our current crisis with terrifying accuracy. In 1967, a psychologist named Martin Seligman did something that changed our understanding of the human will forever. He worked with dogs in what was called a shuttle box. One group of dogs could stop a mild electric shock simply by pressing a lever. They had control. But the second group? Their lever did nothing. They were at the mercy of the machine. Later, when both groups were put into a new box where they could easily escape the shock just by jumping over a tiny wooden hurdle, something strange happened. The first group jumped immediately, but the second group, the ones who had previously been powerless, just lay down and whimpered. They didn't even try to jump, even though the exit was right in front of them. They had learned they were helpless. And modern neuroscience tells us this isn't just a mood, it's a physical state in your brain. When we face uncontrollable stress, a part of the brain called the dorsal raphe nucleus becomes hyperactive. It floods your system with serotonin that actually inhibits your fight or flight response. It's like your brain is cooling down your motivation to protect you from the pain of failing again. In 2026, this is happening on a global scale. When you see 500 job applications result in 0 interviews, or you watch your savings evaporate due to inflation you didn't cause, your brain starts screaming, "Stop trying, it doesn't matter." This is societal learned helplessness. We are bombarded with global crises we cannot personally control, and our screens condition us to believe our local actions are meaningless. We start saying, "It's not just this job, it's the whole world, and it will never change." But if Seligman shows us how we break, Viktor Frankl shows us how we stay whole. Frankl was a psychiatrist who survived the Nazi concentration camps, the ultimate shuttle box of human suffering. There was no lever to stop the shocks there. There was no hurdle to jump over. According to the science of learned helplessness, every prisoner should have eventually laid down in the snow and given up. But Frankl noticed something. The survivors weren't necessarily the strongest or the healthiest. They were the ones who found a will to meaning. Frankl argued that between the stimulus, the shock, and our response, there is a space. And in that space is our power to choose. He famously said that even when you have 0 control over your circumstances, you retain 100% control over your attitude. While he was in the camps, he would mentally reconstruct a book manuscript he had lost, or imagined himself standing on a stage after the war, teaching students about the very tragedy he was currently living through. By creating a why for his future, he made the how of his present bearable. So how do we bridge the gap between Seligman's science and Frankl's soul to survive 2026? We have to realize that learned helplessness thrives on global thinking, the idea that everything is ruined. To beat it, you have to find specific wins. If you can't fix the economy, fix your morning routine. If you can't control the algorithm, control your focus for 30 minutes. These are micro escapes that retrain your brain to recognize that your actions actually have consequences. We have to stop asking, "What is the meaning of my life?" and start realizing that life is the one asking us the questions. Every struggle is a prompt, and your response is your answer. There's a concept called learned controllability. If you experience control over a small stressor, like a difficult workout or learning a new skill, you immunize your brain against future helplessness. You strengthen the part of your brain that can shut down that give up signal. The wall of 2026 is high, and the shocks are real, but you are not a dog in a shuttle box. The most dangerous part of learned helplessness is the learned part, because if you can learn to be helpless, you can learn to be powerful. The hurdle is lower than your brain wants you to believe. Jump. Stay curious. Stay resilient. This is Brinicle Reads.